Let me take this opportunity to thank Unotida as well as his team to invite me in participating in this symposium. I think it's always important that we should have such events in order to keep each other in the loop as to what's happening in industry, what type of knowledge and information is out there, and just get to learn best practice from others. So because this is about my entrepreneurial journey and one of the companies that to an extent has been prominent in my life, I'm going to start by maybe touching on a couple of things about the company itself. It's called Pulego Technologies, and all it aims to do is to create value through technology and innovation. Based in Pretoria, the company has been running for a period of 11 years now. So yeah, I think we've survived all the tough times of being when you start your entrepreneurial journey, they say within the first 3 years, you must survive the first 3 years. If you make it, then there's the next 5 years. If you make it, then there's the next 10 years. So I guess what is we're looking forward to now is whether we'll survive 20 years of being in operation. In the South African context, there's always the point about transformation. So we are a level 1 enterprise, and our focus is really on innovating smart city solutions. We all hear about the digital revolution that we're going through, which is called 4IR. Some say it's coming. It has long been here. So we play in the space of enabling cities to use smart technologies. And we do software development, also software developers, and we've participated in quite a number of incubation programs, including enterprise development programs. Those are always important to get you to the next step, so to speak. As long as you are focused and you know what you want to get out of each of these programs that are offered to you. But you must be careful of the bogus ones, because some just want to have your tax clearance certificate, BE certificate, and all those things just to add to their own BE scores. This is in the context of South Africa. So be careful that you are not used in the process when you think maybe you want to leverage out of relationships. And we are a Microsoft silver partner, but we also partners with other technologies. Now, as I've mentioned, there are 3 service areas that we focused on: smart city solutions. We have our own mobile solution, which we've built from scratch and we are commercializing. And already we're doing a second component of the same technology. So it's smart city solution. And as I indicated, that we take whatever task that the customer wants. If they have a vision about software solving their problems, they talk to us, we take it through the entire cycle, build the technology and deliver it to them such that it's of quality and it really solves their problem. And that's what software does. Just like business is supposed to solve problems and nothing else. Or take advantage of opportunities, at least. If you're not solving problems and not taking advantage of opportunities, then I guess you are in the fantasy world. So that's essentially what we're doing on the software side of things. And then we develop young software developers, provide them to industry for a fee. Sometimes we get the experienced ones as well, and we provide them to industry. Now, let's get into the meat of my time here, which is the story of my entrepreneurial journey. So the story, that's why, the subtitle there says the continuation of a journey, because it started way early in my life. In 1993, there was a civil unrest in South Africa when the apartheid was basically collapsing, and I was staying in a little township called Temba. Temba is one of the 5 townships of Pretoria, so actually one of the 6 of Pretoria. But at the time, it used to belong to a Bantustan. Bantustan is sort of a small country within a country, because the apartheid government thought it was wise to have what they call separate development. So black people must stay by themselves and develop themselves without mixing with the white people. So South Africa was a white country, so to speak, but there were Bantustans, which means little black countries within South Africa. Bophuthatswana, KwaZulu Natal. No, KwaZulu was it was not KwaZulu Natal. I forgot what it was called. KwaZulu. Then you had many other of these places, Sky, Transkei, Gazankulu, and them. So I used to be part of, or I was born in Bophuthatswana. And when the Botswana government, they were the last Bantustan to collapse. When it collapsed, my mother used to work in a shopping mall, in a clothing store. She was a manager there. So practically the store got burnt down. And when it got burnt down, she had to travel 200 kilometers a day in order to go to the next place where she was placed. And she ended up saying, look, I can't do it, and therefore we have to survive while I look for another job. And that's when my entrepreneurial journey started, because of her saying, hey, we need to survive. I can't travel 200 kilometers a day, and I can't stay away from home from you guys. We have to do something. So together with her, we started something that is common in South Africa called a spaza shop, which means a tuck shop, or I don't know what's the other term for it. But basically you start a small shop out of small capital to sell to your own community. This is like you sell like basic needs, your bread, milk, mealie meal, rice in small packets, those kind of things. So another time I was in secondary school. So every day in the morning, I had to take a wheelbarrow to school, park it at the wholesaler. I created a relationship there. So that in the morning I leave it there, and then in the afternoon I will go and stock. So I would buy all sorts of things, sweets and everything, load them in my wheelbarrow, and take them back home, and then we'll start selling. When I take time, my mother takes over, and when I'm available at home, it means I'm literally working in the shop. So fast forward. And one of the interesting, before I fast forward, one of the interesting things was that when we're doing the tuck shop, I also started selling sweets. So my ideas and views about, surviving by making your own money, started developing. So in my secondary school, in different classes, people will sell sweets and chips and all those things, either it's the teachers or the kids, just for survival. Now I partnered with a friend of mine and said, look, let's take over all the classes. So basically be the main distributor of sweets and snacks throughout the entire school. I think it had like 15 classrooms. It was interesting. We got beat. We had to behave like mafia in some cases, but we ended up being able to own 10 classes where we had resellers. So we'd go and stock, and they would sell on our behalf, and we didn't do any selling. If we get caught, they catch the guy selling, and if the guy says we are the supplier, we would always spin the story. So my idea started developing on understanding the markets, understanding what people need, providing the product that people want. Fast forward, I finished my secondary school, and I had what some call a gap year, but mine was forced. I didn't have money to go to school. And a gentleman who I knew in the community said, "Hey, I have a new product. I'm selling, a juice, like your mango juice, guava juice, fruit cocktail and all that." He recently bought a machine, so he was manufacturing his own juice, and he wanted people who would resell for him. And I jumped on the opportunity, started selling juice. And believe it or not, I sold it at my alma mater. So at the school where I finished matric, when people were going to universities and teachers were proud of the crop that they've produced over the years, that they're going to universities and this and that, I was selling juice at the gate. I guess some of them had a disappointing face because I actually had done well. I passed my mathematics very well, and I was amongst the top of the class students. I sold the juice. I got to understand again how to make your profit. What is the profit margin? What is your markup? The costs of distributing this thing. I got a few other friends to join me. Luckily, the following year, I got a bursary to go and study in what we used to call technicons. Basically, they're technical universities. And it cost, some small money to register. So it only covered registration. And when I got there, I had to make a plan to survive all the costs and the excitement that comes being in res and being amongst other students. Luckily, I also had a small amount of money from the government education funding facility called NEFSAS. So that also paid for something. But it was not enough. So I had to do two things to survive. One, a lot of students, because that was a predominantly Black institution, taking into context the racial history that we have in this country. A lot of students did not afford books. They did not afford books at all. And books were coming at something like 400 rands, 500 rands. Imagine in 2000, the year 2000, paying 500 rands for a book. Probably that is 1,500 rands in today's money for one book. So teamed up with a friend. He was a senior to me, a sort of a mentor. He was doing his final year at the institution. We linked up with guys who were working in the printers department of the university. And we said, hey guys, how about you reproduce the copies for us? So you order your boxes when when you have to order printing material for the institution, just add extra on the site and you pay for it on the site. You print all those books. We'll give you books to make copies of. We'll come, collect, and then sell to the students because there was no other way. The university was sort of aware that counterfeit books were sold in the institution, and they decided to turn a blind eye because they knew that people could not afford. And I was one of the main distributors there. So if a book is 500 rands, I would sell a copy at 100 rands. That got me quite some money and, to enjoy myself. But that was not enough. I also on Fridays went back home, took a lawnmower and do landscaping jobs. So I would do 10 gardens over a weekend. Unfortunately, that gave me a back problem over time. But it was good because I was earning my own money. So in school, when others did not have a microwave, I had one. When others did not have a fridge, I had one. When others did not have a TV, I had one. So to an extent, that journey grew over time. But when I finished my studies, I went to Cameroon and worked with someone most of you know, Roland Kwemen, as a volunteer in ISAC. And that basically was after my internship that I did in South Africa and went there. It was basically the start of my working life. But worked in the NGO sector for 7-8 years to come. And it was great, it was fantastic, mission driven. You know that you were creating impact in communities. I was traveling throughout the African continent, doing projects, engaging with the civil society movement on technology. At the time, we're talking about the digital divide. Believe it or not, digital divide is still a problem today, and it will be a problem forever, which means those who are technology haves and those who are technology have not. So that was my mission that I worked for a long time, including when I was in Cameroon with Roland Kwemen, and I discovered JCI from there. So as I was working in the nonprofit sector, program manager, doing projects in 10 different countries, traveling, enjoying myself, every day I came to work, I was feeling tired. I was feeling exhausted. I was feeling like I don't really want to wake up anymore to go to work. And to me, that was a message. My body was telling me something, that your journey here has ended. It's time to move on. Luckily, at the time, our NGO was not doing that well. And it was started by young guys who were formerly in ISAC. We all worked together. One got a job in the UN, no, not UN, World Bank. He was from Finland. The other guy said he's going to travel South America for a year. He left. And the other one said he will join another NGO. And I was left with the offices, though I still had to pay rent. So I used those offices to start Pulego Technologies, my current business. But at the time I was moonlighting because we were still wrapping up the NGO. And at the same time, I was still, getting to start the business. So from 8 to 4 o'clock, I worked in one office. And then there's a door in between the two offices. From 4 o'clock up until midnight, I just crossed over to the other side and started working. But over time, it took me 2 years to be full-time and not moonlight. The business that was the beginning. And the funny thing is that at the time, I was the national president of JCI South Africa. So you can imagine, national president starting a new business, wrapping up an NGO. It was tough, but enjoyable at the same time. I really enjoyed the time. And the first contract that I got was at the building where our offices were. So guys, it is always important to form relationships, because when you form relationships, people start trusting you when based on how you obviously carry yourself in that relationship. And they would say, hey, by the way, here's an opportunity, do you want to take it? And my first contract was actually a training contract. I mean, I started small websites and all that. Those were like 5,000 rands there, 3,000 rands there. But my first real contract, 150,000 rands, was to provide training. Now, how did these guys see that I'm able to provide training? Because I used to invite JCI members at the Innovation Hub to give them training, and then I would invite staff to join for free. So there was like, hey, you guys, you're always doing training here. Here is a student development program. They wanted to do, interns. They take them provide them to IT companies or technology companies at the hub. And part of that, there will be like skills development training that happens so that guys gain soft skills while they doing their own technical work. So that was our first contract, doing soft skills training. Imagine an IT company doing soft skills training, but it got us going. And over time we grew. I think so far over 50 people have gone through our business, even though we are a small company. We at the moment have 12 staff members. Some of them are placed with customers, some of them are working from home. But over time, a lot of guys have come through our hands, and we've taken interns, like literally each and every year, we take a minimum of 3 interns. So guys who are looking for their apprenticeship or internship just to get business skills. We take 3 a year, and then some of them over time we hired them. Some of them got great jobs, and we are proud of what we have done thus far. So that is my story of being an entrepreneur. I'm going to start getting into the lessons of what have I gained through the process. But what you're looking at, it's actually an image that talks about the name of the business. Pulego is a Setswana word, even let me say it's a Sotho word, that means an opening. So an opening of opportunities, an opening of your thinking, we used to work in what they call the open source industry way before open source was like a big issue, that software should be liberated, software should be free for people to use without having to pay for it unless they want special features. It's a human right. At the time we're saying software and connectivity are a human right. So free open source plus my desire to explore opportunities, and my story is just a continuation. I termed and named the business Pulego Technologies. Okay, and that's why you have that ring there. But let's get into, before I get into the lessons that I've learned over time, is there anyone who wants to ask a question or make a comment? Okay, in the absence of none, let's get ahead. I decided there were so many lessons, but I decided why not stick with 9, because often people will take even numbers. So sometimes things don't have to be a square, a circle. Could be an oval. It could be an odd number instead of an even number. So I chose 9 of the best, and I'll try to build other lessons through those 9. The first one is just start. If you want to start a business, just go ahead and start the damn thing, because there will never ever be the right time. Sometimes people will say you have to save 3 months of your salary so that in the first 3 months you have a bit of money to survive, to take care of your debts and to do all these things. I can tell you, if you wait for the right moment, if you wait for funding, if you wait for all sorts of things, it will never happen. I know a young entrepreneur who wrote a business plan using a GSM phone. I don't know how many of you remember a GSM phone. You know that dumb phone before smartphones could be there? All it had was what you call it, a sort of text editor. And he used that to write a business plan. So all I'm saying is that use what you have to just start your own business if you want to be an entrepreneur. And using what you have, there could be 3 or 4 things that you can use. Number 1 is your skills. You have something that somebody is willing to pay for, either your skills, your time, your knowledge, or your talent. Okay, somebody can be willing to pay for that, provided you start by going to the people that you trust. And when you start your business, I mean, go to the people that trust you. Go to the people that trust you. Go to the people that know you, because you don't have to, start by creating a rapport. And for me, I literally took advantage of the JCI opportunity. I took advantage of the NGO sector that I was part of. I took advantage of some of the guys that I studied with. I mean, a couple of my current contracts are guys that I was in university with. My lead developer is somebody I was in university with. So always, make sure that you take advantage of those past relationships. That's why in my language, they say something which it sounds like, what's the right word in English? It's like it has a swearing word, but that word, it's not basically it's in some languages, swearing is not like it's language. It's not like you swearing. So the word goes by saying "Oskanyela didiba," which simply means don't poop in the well that you might have to drink water from tomorrow. Therefore, when you have relationships, take care of them. Make sure that you retain your integrity, you retain the trust. And sometimes people talk about having a trust account with other people, which means every time you do something for someone, something good, something positive, every time you show up, you present yourself in a professional manner, you show care, you take time to get to know people, you are depositing in your trust account. And when you start business, you must leverage on those trust accounts. So remember, don't poop in the well that you're drinking water from, and that well might be your network or your people. The second lesson that I've got over time is that cash flow is king. You can sell stuff but still not have money. If your money is in other people's hands, you basically are not in business. It means you're volunteering. And if you don't take an effort to collect your money, you will not survive, because each and every month there are certain costs that you have to pay for. You have to pay salaries, you have to pay rental, you have to buy data, you have to do whatever that you are doing. If indeed you are in a business, remember that there's a difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur, which means you are focused on building an enterprise. And if it's an enterprise, it means over time you're going to hire people, and those people must be paid. If you are self-employed, it's just you. Maybe you enjoy the poverty of not collecting your money, then it's well and good. You'll suffer alone. But if you have staff, their families are counting on you. So always collect your money. If you have to fight to collect your money, you have to do that, provided you do it in a constructive manner, and you are always, brutally honest with people. A couple of, I think, weeks ago, I had to write an email to a CEO of one of the companies that we're serving, that, look, I'm a small business. You have not paid us for 60 months. I have to pay salaries. You must know that each and every month that you take time to pay me, I'm paying the bank 21% of overdraft interest. So basically, you are killing my business. But I was polite, very diplomatic. And within 2 days, our money was paid. So make sure that you have enough cash to run your business in your bank account. Irrespective of whether you sell in credit or whatever, just have enough cash to run your business, because that is the bloodline of your business. Lesson number 3, integrity is everything, guys. Whatever you do in business, make sure that you preserve your integrity. You work, and you aspire to reach the highest standards possible. Even when you write a document, let it be seen that this document is, from a person who thought thoroughly about it, who wrote it, taking the whole thing serious, because it's all these small things. So it's like small nudges that build up to make your overall integrity. And never sell yourself too cheap because you chasing the next deal, and somebody says, hey, I can give you business if you give me this much. um, Going around and not being honest and telling people, over promising things that you cannot deliver. I have a friend of mine who, one of his businesses was literally collapsed by him over promising to deliver. When people say, hey, I want a stock of 300,000 by next week Monday, can you, knowing very well that he doesn't even have 50,000, Then he would run around trying to gather all that money to go and get the stock to deliver. When you do that, what are you doing? You are withdrawing from your trust account. Remember, I spoke about depositing into your by doing good things. When you start doing bad things, you are now withdrawing from your trust account. So don't overpromise. Don't get into deals that will get you in trouble just to survive today. You compromise your whole entire future by doing funny things that are not of integrity. The thing is, integrity can collapse just like that. You can be in social media doing funny things, or being taken to court, or being accused of corruption and all sorts of things. To rebuild that integrity costs more. It takes a lot more time. It takes a lot more effort for people to trust you again. Honesty is the best policy. Customer says, are you able to do this? Be honest. Look, I have an interest in delivering this service to you. I have limited capacity, so instead of delivering this to you in a week, it will take me about 2 to 3 weeks. But I guarantee you that each and every week I'll give you a status update of where I am. But I have an interest in delivering this. Don't go. I've already spoken about over promising. Just be honest. If you miss a deadline, communicate with your customer. A day or two, you can see that you're going to miss a deadline. Communicate. This is where we are. This is what is outstanding. And we anticipate that it will take this much time for us to be able to complete the job. Don't just hide, keep quiet, never say anything. You miss a deadline, suddenly your customers are looking for you and you're avoiding your calls and all those things. I don't believe in the fake it until you make it. Even if you come from a humble background or you are at a position where you don't have much, if you're honest enough, people are willing to listen to you. People are willing to help you. But if you come and fake it and try to show off, drive a car that you don't own just to go to a meeting, I mean, come on. If you're not being genuine, to be honest. So always try to be as honest as you can. Number 5 is that you must stay the course, because resilience pay over time. We get luckier over time. Your first year, second year, third year, it could be difficult. You might be thinking of quitting, but keep going. Rather adjust and adapt yourself. Maybe some of the services that you are providing are not working. Jump into something else, because a lot of people who started business with something else, they end up doing a whole different business altogether over time. The key thing is that they recognize and accept that they are an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is a mindset. And being a mindset, it means it's also a lifestyle. If you don't keep to that mindset and lifestyle, you will give up one day. But if you know, I'm in this journey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, no matter how difficult and how tough it is, I will keep running the course. So as you stay the course, you will see over time, you'll get luckier, you'll get business. People will start, as long as you keep on doing the good things, right? Keep on doing the good things. You will get business over time, and you'll get recommended if you deliver a good service, and people will trust you and your business will grow. And not all our businesses will be like, be on an upward trajectory each and every year. I mean, my business for the last 3 years, we've been actually making a little bit less revenue. So we've been in a decline for the last 2 years, actually. So you have to accept that that's part of business. And sometimes you pay salaries before you even pay yourself, before you even pay your rent. You go negotiate and do all sorts of things just to make sure that you stay focused and keep working and working and working on your business. As time goes, you will see that you will get luckier. Lesson number 6, partnership is leverage. Get into partnerships that are of value, where it is clear what you're going to get, because you need others to get somewhere. You can't do it all by yourself. I get a lot of young entrepreneurs who come to me and they would say, hey, I would like to get some business advice from you. I'll make time, buy coffee and say, let's meet at some coffee shop. And then I'm here to listen to you. And the guy would just say to me, I have a business idea. I can't reveal it to you now because protecting, it's still they would say I'm protecting my intellectual property. Or I'm, in some, not even to that extent, they would say I'm protecting my idea. And I was like, okay, guy, you're not serious. If you really want to talk to me about business, you have to reveal. If I have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, I'm more than happy to do that. But don't say to me that, hey, I want to start a business, but it's still a secret. I can't tell my idea. I can't do this. I can't do that. How am I going to be able to partner with you? How am I going to become your own sponsor? How am I going to give you advice? So go out and seek others. By others, I mean either bigger business that you can leverage from, others who are, satisfying a certain component of the value chain that you are serving, and you are on the other side of the value chain. You take advantage of those relationships and you sign proper agreements. Don't just get into partnerships that are not going anywhere. I've been in those, somebody saying, hey, I'll do sales for you in Botswana, or I'll do sales for you in Lesotho. You sign an agreement and nothing happens. If nothing happens, take it with peace and go ahead. But when you find those partnerships, make sure that you leverage from them. Make sure that you also offer something. Don't come and just take. Offer something. Show that you have something to prove and something to deliver as well. Always deliver, even if it costs you more. Always deliver. If you sign the contract, you have a consignment of whatever number of products that you must deliver or whatever services that you must deliver, and you charge the customer pays you, or they've given you a purchase order, deliver. I can tell you, I did a project last year, 2 years actually. I've had to deliver on contracts that were more expensive. One with the Council for Medical Schemes, the other one with the BE committee, where the system, when we started, we said this is the system that we're going to build for you. But as we were going along, it was just it was getting bigger, in some cases more complicated. So you underestimate, because when you do your initial quotation, that's why I don't like thumbsucking quotations. People say, hey, how much will it cost to build a mobile application? I often say, hey, I need to get the requirements first. Let me look at the requirements, study them, and I'll tell you how much does it cost. Even if we did that, obviously your calculations are not always going to be 100%. And we discovered that in over time, because of the complexities, infrastructure issues, some things that were not basically because of us, it was costing us more, because we sell time. We sell our skills and we sell our time as well. So if I have a software developer doing a piece of a program, the less I have them doing that, the better it is for me. But the more time they spend, the more costly it becomes. So as soon as you make a commitment to the customer, make sure that you meet it. You'd rather go back and say, Mr. Customer, I've done 90% of this. Unfortunately, due to time, cost constraints, or all whatever other issues, we have not been able to do everything. But this is the 90% of great quality that we've delivered to you. People are always willing to, they understand, and they might even give you more business in the future. Always look for a sponsor. A sponsor is someone who can champion your cause, someone who can speak on your behalf. There is someone in your life who trusts you with their life, who would do anything for you. So as you venture into the business world, try to find that particular one person. It might not be one person, there might be a few, but do your best to find a sponsor. Even at the customer, it might not be one. So even at the customer where you're delivering services, try to find that person who's nodding a lot when you speak in meetings and create a relationship with that person, because that is the person who's going to speak for you when anything is needed. The last lesson, because of time, is, guys, the reason of being an entrepreneurship is for you to have more time to yourself. So buy your own time. Don't spend too much time in the business, but rather aspire to build the business to such a point where you work on the business. You are outside. I mean, I was telling some of my team members last week that I'm tired of writing proposals. I need to hire somebody to write proposals. You need to hire somebody to deliver the service. You can't be a jack of all trade, excuse me, in your own business. So ultimately, you need to get, if you're saying you're a successful entrepreneur, you need to have others working on working in your business while you're sitting outside, and you can go and check on how things are going from time to time. You don't have to be there 100%, because you need time to think, you need time to rejuvenate, you need time to meet people, explore, spend less time in the office. I used to tell some guys at the Innovation Hub that you're spending too much time in the office. When are you selling? When are you going out to meet potential customers? Ladies and gentlemen, those are my few lessons. If you have any question, I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Thlaku. That was really amazing. I personally loved the resilience that is in your journey. I mean, I think that was the main thing that stood out for me, just hearing you talking about having to sell juice, and now you are the founder of this huge, amazing company. I mean, that is really awesome.
Try pushing on more, it's even tougher.
No, that was really amazing. So I'm just going to leave some time for questions. I see that we have a question from Ray in the chat. His question is, what part has the BEE policy in SA played in growing you as an entrepreneur?
Okay, to answer that, look, transformation is important. It's necessary. It's not even debatable anymore. We come from a history where white business was literally getting everything, and Black people were even, barred from from starting their own businesses. So it is important that transformation must happen. And where there is a requirement for Black suppliers, I go in. Hey, I want to be in business. If the fact that we are a BE company, we will respond and participate, because ultimately, irrespective of all the politics and issues around it, we are creating jobs. We are providing for livelihoods. If BE doesn't work for you, find other ways. An entrepreneur has to, it's like you're in war. You have to fight your cause and make sure that you win at all reasonable cost.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Maybe just to differentiate just a bit, for my own businesses, there are some set-asides that we were able to secure business from, because we are a Black business, and some enterprise development initiatives that we've been part of. So to an extent, we've gained out of the BEE.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm just going to quickly hand over to Uno.
Well, thank you very much, Precious, and thank you. Apologies.
Technology.
Okay. Can you guys hear me better now?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So, thank you very much, Senator Tshepo Thlaku, for coming through and speaking to us about your business journey. Today was deep for me because we got to learn the whole story from when this started. Because I just remember sometime in where was it? We always talk about it when we were selling. What do you call them? Macimbi. What are they called?
Magwenya.
Yeah.
Yes,
in was it Benin?
Mm-hmm.
No.
It was Mopane worms.
Yeah.
Oh, Mopane worms.
Yes. And I remember that shop we had there, the JCI shop with JCI South Africa. And now I remember how we used to sell, and I could tell this was coming from experience. Because now we're selling those things, and people are coming to the shop and they're saying, hey, what is this now? He says, my friend, these things are good for your manhood.
They give you firepower. I'm telling you, highly nutritious.
They're good for your power. And guys would line up coming to taste that. And I was just like, man, this guy is just good at sales. It's like it comes out naturally. And I can see exactly where it came from. And I can also see the story of how resilient you were throughout the time. And we've gotten the lessons, the 9 lessons that you learned from your 11 years of business. And thank you for investing that time with us, who are starting, who are still getting our feet on in the business world, and some who are actually just considering the idea. And now that they see someone whom they know and has done this, it's something that we really, really appreciate. So thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Those who have just started or are just starting and they're going through tough time. By the way, I still have a small business, you know. By now it should be 500 people. I still have less than 20 people. So it's still a long road to go. When it feels like it's too much, just take your earphones, play your favorite music, dance, and celebrate yourself.